You are listening to the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network. Visit pencilandpaperproductions.podbean.com to find more great podcasts.
Welcome to the Palace of Megapixels. This is Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo. I'm your host, Stephen White. With me, as always, is my co-host, Lacey Finley.
Happy Monday.
How are you today?
Doing good. Doing good. The coffee perked me up sooner than normal today, so I enjoy that.
Yeah, that's always a
just
plus.
Kind of like slammed it straight out of the pot, baby. No, I wish I was that hardcore. Imagine how intimidating that could be.
Yeah.
Just the chick who stares you in the eyes, grabs the pot straight off, and just pours it right in her gullet, doesn't even flinch.
Yeah, I think I would slowly back away at that point. I was like, nope, you're on it now.
You're like, all right, we're good on this girl right now.
Let you have your caffeine. Yeah, it's been, I don't know what's wrong with this week. I've just had a bad week. I don't want to like, I don't know. It's just like it started off bad and it just progressively got worse and nothing's gone right. And I just, I'm ready for the week is over, obviously, but it was just like, what else
Well,
can go
now
wrong?
hopefully you can decompress.
I'm
today.
hoping.
I don't know.
It was just one thing after another. And so I'll tell you a story before we get into everything.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that, it was already starting off bad. And, I feel like I'm a pretty good employee at work. I don't cause any trouble. I do my work and go home, right? But
I imagine so.
One Tuesday, I got called to HR. And that's usually never a good thing, but it was because I'd had enough of someone's mouth. We have this employee who likes to talk about people behind their back to other people.
We all have one. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was already kind of on edge that day. And then I find out this. And instead of just letting it go, I was like, no, I'm gonna deal with this right now. I'm gonna go deal with this right now because if someone's gonna talk about me, I'm gonna go. Let's hash it out. So
let's figure this out, man.
Yeah, I approached the person and confronted them about the situation, and instead, I'll admit I probably came in pretty intense. I wasn't yelling, but you could tell that I was already kind of like
the fire was in your eyes.
Yeah, I was just like, come on, let's go deal with this right now. Let's go. Mm-hmm. And they were refusing. And then once we got outside to deal with the situation, this person decided to divert from where we needed to hash out this problem and go tattle and that I was being irate and mean and all this other stuff. So that set me off even further because it was like, clearly we could have just dealt with this, but you want to be this person.
And they're not used to having conflict, apparently, like having to have the direct.
No, apparently this person thinks that they are the boss. They are the king supreme. And when someone challenges that, they're afraid. At least that's what I took from it. So,
well, that's not what a king does.
No.
Just to throw that out there.
So, yeah.
Not that they're listening, but I'm just saying.
I would be surprised. I would really.
I mean, if they are, then that's not what a king does. I'll just talk to you directly if you're listening.
Yeah.
King deals with their problems.
But
well, maybe not. Maybe they do outsource it. I don't know. I'm not a king.
But
royalty.
Again, going to HR, I tried calming down and explaining the situation. I was like, look, this is the problem. I just wanted it sorted because, clearly they felt the need to go talk about me behind my back and badmouth me because I wasn't doing something they wanted. That they have no I mean, it's not even something they need to deal with, but clearly it bothered them enough to run their mouth. So, I just told them flat out. I was like, I was aggravated. I was angry, but I was just trying to get this sorted out. And all this attitude that I got from it just, made it worse. And I just got amped up. So I'm sorry. That's what happened. But they didn't hear the problem. They thought the problem was the problem I had initially, was the, why I went off in the first place. And that's all they ever focused on. They weren't focused on the problem at hand, which was between two people. And I just found that to be incredibly aggravating. So I was like, clearly you didn't listen to anything I said. You heard only what you wanted to, and that's that. So this is not going to get hashed out.
Yeah.
So it didn't make it better. Yeah. So.
Yeah. I feel like HR just probably just went through the motions of having to talk to you because that's part of their job.
Sure.
But maybe not fully trained on how to deal with employee conflict.
Clearly not. So.
Because it seems like it should have been like you both got pulled into the office and let's talk about it kind of situation. But I'm that person. Like if I have that issue and like it doesn't get resolved between us two, let's just go in front of them both. That way there's no he said, she said. Just sit down. Yeah. I ain't scared. Let's talk about it with a third party here and let them make the decision.
But yeah.
Well, that sucks.
But it's all right. I got over it. It's just, I guess it's just kind of kept me down because I'm just like, it's just one thing after another. So, but
when it rains, it pours, they say.
But anyway, what have you been playing this week?
I feel like it's been another light week, but you would be proud of me or disappointed at the same time. I don't know. Let's see.
Okay.
I started Thimbleweed Park finally.
Finally.
I know. I can't believe I just kept forgetting about it being there and I kept playing it and going back to it. So finally it was one of those things where I was like, I had no idea what I wanted to stream. And I started looking through my backlog and I'm like, holy crap, really still? I've not done this. So it's been started. It's been fun. I don't think I'm too far along into it, but I was very happy to meet Sandy and Dave at the diner. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I love the seamless, like between the two when you're going back and forth. I love the Mulder and Scully vibe because that's totally what I'm getting from the two main characters, And of course, being in the vein of Maniac Mansion, this is why I'm so mad at myself that really it's taken me this long to get around to it. But I mean, I don't even know if you can go out of order in the game or if there's a specific way to do it or whatever. So I think I had just spoilers. If you're one of those that hasn't played it yet, 3, 2, 1. So after I get like one of the characters knocked out behind the diner and you're in the sewer and I called for help and come out, and that's about where I am. So I've met just about, I think, everyone in town
there,
and I gotta help the birds fix the leak, the pigeons, the people dressed as pigeons.
Yeah.
And so I haven't gone down that side street yet because I haven't I found the place to get the tube. I just haven't made it back to the birds with it yet.
Right.
The cake shop.
Sure. Yeah.
Which, yeah, exactly. That's where you sell vacuum tubes, But yeah, like it's cute. The nostalgia is real, and the dialogue is witty enough to keep me entertained. And I didn't know actually about the backers of the game having a phone number in it.
Yeah.
I did not know this bit. And so one of my viewers came in like as soon as I started the game and they're like, I was a backer for this game. You should call me. And I'm like, well, that's a weird thing to say. Why would I call you? And so they explained it and gave me their phone number. And so they got to like do a little, I don't know, line. His was in German, so he had to tell me what it was. And he's like, that's weird because I was told to do it in native language and English, but I had all the language settings to English, but for some reason his voice call was still coming in German. something about, hey, my name is, I won't say it here just in case he doesn't want it, but name is blah, 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 and very happy to be a part of this, or however it was. And I was like, well, that's kind of fun. And the phone book is huge.
Yeah, oh, yeah. It's
like
massive.
I finally actually found the phone book because I needed to get, well, in my playthrough, I guess it doesn't matter which character was in my playthrough. She was the one who got knocked out and put in the sewer. I don't know if it was always going to be her, or if it was just her I was playing when I went behind the diner. I don't know how that mechanic works out. But that was when I finally found the phone book. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I need one guy here, and now there's all this. But that's a cute little thing.
Yeah.
So that was a really cute, for those who, I guess, kickstarted the game and backed it early, they got that little perk of being in the game that way. And yeah, so I'm not very far. I don't know how long the game itself actually is. I chose the regular mode. Like, yes, I've done puzzle games and blah, blah, blah. So I'm assuming it would take me a little longer than the casual mode if you wanted to just go through the story and not really do puzzles. But it's cute. And if you were a fan of Maniac Mansion or pixel games or point and click games or just fun little story games, so far I recommend it.
Yeah,
I can't wait to finish it.
It was a lot of fun, and definitely kind of keep your eyes open for little Maniac Mansion references like Sandy and Dave. There are others kind of sprinkled about. I think
I had a feeling there had to be.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, the guy who runs the, I think it's like a convenience mart on the outskirts of town. If I remember,
like the bro dude.
Yeah, I think that's the guy.
And there's talks like he's a stoner man.
Yeah. And he has that plant.
Yeah, and the blinking lights are in there
on his counter.
Yeah. I have talked to him.
If you talk to him, he'll talk to you about Bernard, and I think it's supposed to be his cousin.
Oh.
So.
Oh. I feel like I did, but honestly, this is probably one of those games I'm going to have to play again, like off stream, because we got into like ton bouts of conversation yesterday that the game just kind of sat idle for a while. So I paid attention when dialogue was happening, but you know how it is. Yeah. You get good conversation flowing in a chat room, and you're like, oh, the game's secondary right now.
Sure.
So, but I'm having fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I'm sad it took me this long, but I'm glad I'm getting around to it now. So, And that might be the only thing new. Still this war of mine. I'm almost through all of my people to say I could survive with all the different scenarios they've put forth. And I haven't touched Beat Saber this week, so I'm going to be rusty. I know, right? I'm going to be rusty, but I think that's all I've played.
All right. That's good.
Trying to think.
Nothing else.
Yeah. I mean, I might have, and then it just wasn't important enough to stick in my mind. Another throwaway, toss away, like waste some time things. But no, I think that's it.
All right.
How about you?
Still Days Gone.
Usually you've got a good list.
Yeah. I'm
Days Gone?
Pretty deep into Days Gone. As far as story goes, I mean, I know where I'm at, but as far as like lengthwise, like where I'm at, like some big things actually went down. And I think I said this a few weeks back, that the map felt very small. And then the more and more I get into the game, the map just continues to grow. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So there's yet another area that I've unlocked now.
Oh, wow.
And that's kind of where I left it last night. Is I went into this area, and I don't think I'm really supposed to be going there as of yet, or at least not for any mission. Like, I was in that area, like a mission prior to where I'm at now, and then I saw there was you find these areas in the game that are called Nero checkpoints, and they're like medical facilities for everything that's been going on. And there you can find these little injectors, which will boost your health or your stamina or your focus, whatever you choose to do. And I passed one during the mission, but I couldn't get into the facility because I was mid-mission. So I was like, all right, well, I'll come back. So before I ended last night, I was like, well, let me go back over there and see if I can get that injector, which I did. And then I just kind of got on my bike, and this is kind of where I ended it, but I was looking and I was like, let's go ahead and explore this. Maybe that's where I'll come back tomorrow, and I'll explore this area, because obviously there's things to do. And what's I guess to expand what I've been doing prior to that is I have essentially 2 of the 3 areas that I have been in, I have essentially finished. Like, there's nothing more for me to do in those areas. I've collected everything. I've cleared out all the hordes. I think in The very first area you play in the game, I'm waiting on like one more camp mission, like for them to call me and say, hey, we need your help. Okay, once I do that, then that's 100% done. That entire area is complete. The area in which that I've kind of been playing in for the last week or so, the main camp, there's a horde or two maybe. No, there's only one. Yeah, that's one of my biggest complaints right now with the game is this buggy system with the hordes. Now, I have heard that after a certain time, hordes will actually appear on your map. So you can actually track them down and go take them out. Me personally, I've been hunting them down blind. Trying to remember areas that I've seen, because there are certain caves that you find. You'll find these little areas where it looks like they've been feasting or whatever, like they congregate to at night. So I just like, if I can take them out now, why not just take them out now? And that helps boost my experience and my standing within the community. So I'm just like, screw it, I'll do it now. Because that's the kind of person, that's the player I am. I don't like doing everything at the end. I want to do everything before the end. So when I end the game, I'm done.
You're done. Yeah.
And I've been hunting down all these hordes, got most of them. But there's this one horde in the area that I'm at. I know where their cave is. I know where their little feasting area is, but I can't find them. And during the day, they're supposed to be in the cave asleep. And at night, they'll be out wandering. I have no idea where they are. Like I think it was like 2 nights ago, I was circling this area trying to find them. And I'm like, come on now. And there were tons of freakers running around just kind of randomly scattered about. And there were plenty of them, but there was not one gigantic group. So I don't know what the deal is. And it was just aggravating me because I was like, come on,
Yeah, when you're looking for something, you spend so much time wandering around a game. Like, the frustration kicks in.
And I'd had this problem prior because there was another one up in one of the other areas in the top right-hand corner of the map that was, I actually looked this up because I was like, well, it's got to be around here somewhere. And they said it's in this cave. And I was like, okay, cool. I've been in this cave. I didn't see him, but I'll go back. And I went back during the day, went back at night, nothing. So eventually I started looking around the areas, and that's what I was trying to do with this other one. And I said, well, where would they be? Like, where would they congregate to at night? And there was a graveyard nearby. So yeah, that makes sense. And sure enough, I found them in the graveyard. But it's like it was a glitch because they were all kind of huddled up against a wall, and I don't know what they were doing. And it was just, I was like, so this is why I couldn't find them, because they're all huddled up next to this wall. They're not spread out anywhere. It's like they're just kind of crammed together here. So as soon as I threw a Molotov at them, of course, they all went ballistic and started coming after me. Yeah. And it's like it broke whatever glitch it had. But the problem is that they scattered about from the graveyard to their cave, so much so that I had to just randomly pick off all the freakers I could between point A and point B until I actually cleared the horde. So it was just,
gotcha.
It was like, come on.
Oh, that sucks.
But I am enjoying it.
Well,
I'm having fun with it.
Yeah.
It's just little things like that.
I have heard the game has some hiccups. Yeah.
I mean, the more I play it, the more I think of things that could make it so much better. I mean, I would say at one point I was probably aggravated at the whole gas thing with your bike, even having to repair it. Yeah. But that also kind of adds a little bit of a challenge to it because you have to be careful about how you do things. You don't want to try to run out of gas, because if you run out of gas and you got a bunch of freakers behind you, there's a challenge because you're like, well, shit, what am I going to do now? So it keeps you on your toes in this area. So I get the reason behind it. So it's not that big a deal. But yeah, it does have some bugs that they really need to work on, and that's one of them. Just I want to be able to find what I'm looking for. And there's even a second bug. I feel like it's a bug, but I could be wrong. Is one of the collectibles that I'm looking for in that last area that I've been in. It says that I'm still missing one, but I've went through a checklist and I've gotten them all. So I don't know what that's about.
Yeah, it could be.
So I'm gonna wait and see if maybe it'll clear up. But I hope it's not a glitch, because that would in turn cause me not to get a trophy that I'd worked so hard to collect. And we'll see. I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. Hopefully it gets addressed. Yeah, you would think by now most of that would have been.
Yeah, you'd think so, but it's not.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about some news because we've got quite a bit
Let's do it.
in the news categories. First of all, last week there was an unexpected announcement that came through a Japanese press release and via a tweet from PlayStation saying that Shawn Layden would be departing Sony Interactive Entertainment. And while we've seen other industry leaders kind of move along this year, like Reggie Fils-Aimé, he went and retired and moved on to other things. What feels strange about this announcement is that Layden himself has said nothing publicly about his departure, which seems to lend a little bit of credibility to reports that Layden was pushed out. And
Yeah, because there was no like predecessor, right? Announced either. Yeah.
And with a solid track record with his 32 years at the company, one might wonder why this could have happened. Now, according to a report from Game Daily, there seemed to be a bit of a power struggle happening internally at the company, particularly between Layden and PlayStation boss Jim Ryan. A third party from a developer third party claims to have direct knowledge of the situation and was quoted as saying that Sony's global reorganization is actually causing this turmoil. And other details point to intense secrecy behind the PlayStation 5 that's actually keeping developers in the dark. But as it stands right now, it's really hard to pinpoint this issue because it's like a bouncing of, well, it's this or it's that. And it could be a combination of all these things, bunching it up and causing this issue. But I feel like with an industry vet like Layden being set aside, along with these other possibilities, it's starting to make me wonder if Sony's about to falter and allow its hubris to be its downfall, because they've been on top for a while, and if they get complacent right now, they're gonna lose that spot.
It is strange. I mean, like you said, we've seen a lot of that this year. But yeah, those stark differences in what's going on here kind of makes you wonder what was going on. Because with him not saying anything and Sony not announcing, hey, everything's fine. Actually, this person is going to be inserted into that place for whatever reason. Guess we'll have to have faith and wait and see what was going on. Because he's been with the company long enough that I feel like some sort of exit line would be due. Yeah.
And again, compared to Reggie's departure, we got an official, message from him.
Even with the dev from that one game with Microsoft or whatever, like even with the games that we've been seeing people leave, like we've been hearing about it. So I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. It was definitely a strange thing, because when I read the headline, I was like, wow, what? Really? Now?
Yeah.
So yeah,
I think I just heard about that last night.
So it's
or yesterday during the day.
It'll be interesting to see what happens, because I don't want to think anything's wrong, but who knows?
There's no
The next story I've got is the creators behind the recently released VR title Vader Immortal have announced a collaboration with Marvel Studios in a new VR title called Avengers Damage Control, where players can team up with their favorite heroes from the MCU while utilizing a new hybrid tech from Wakanda and Stark Industries designed by Black Panther's sister Shuri. Now, unfortunately, if you were getting all excited, be like, oh, I can't wait for this to come out. Well, it's not going to be a home release game. It's more of an interactive experience that you can only check out at a place called The Void. I don't know if you're familiar with what The Void is.
No,
it's like
I am not.
It's a VR attraction area or business, or
like at a theme park,
kind of, yeah,
or something like that.
They have these little facilities set up. The entire facility is set up to be this fully immersive, interactive VR setup. So if you've got wind blowing in your face, like if you're flying around as Iron Man, they're going to have wind blowing at you. If you're near something hot, you're going to feel the heat. If you're punching a wall, they're going to make you punch a wall. They have all these things set up to where you feel like you're not just playing something in VR, but you're really in it. So it's a full immersive experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only problem is that there's only a few hubs that are actually in the United States. There are only certain cities that have them. I think the nearest one near me is Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, yeah. That's still a hike.
Yeah. And There's only 2 in Canada, and I'm not even sure how many, or I don't think there's maybe 1 in Malaysia, and that's the only one outside the North America. So they're very rare at the moment to actually find. And the concept does leave me wanting a home release, but the full interactive experience of being an Iron Man-esque character in a VR, I want to go do this. So
yeah,
I would,
no, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, I would want to actively go on a vacation just to do that. Make that trip because I think it would be cool. But
yeah,
if you've got a Void near you, or if you know where you can find one, and this sounds interesting to you, go check it out, or go
check it out.
Yeah, go look it up and see when they're going to be releasing it, because I don't think they've said specifically yet when it's going to start being part of the Void experience program, because I think they have different setups you can do. It doesn't have to be this. You can go there and do all sorts of stuff. Like they have other experiences you can enjoy. But this one sounds really cool. So it does. I definitely want to.
And I've not played Vader Immortal yet. It's on my wish list. I was waiting until a couple more episodes came out, and I know the second one just did. But it looks really good, and from Let's Plays that I've seen, so I'd imagine this would be a pretty cool experience to go do. So.
Yeah, and the fact that Marvel Studios is behind it, I mean, that's some money right there.
That's a little icing on the cake.
Yeah, they're not going
to sure.
just, half-ass it. They're going to be like, no, we got money. Here's some of that in-game money.
Yeah. Make it really cool, right?
Really good.
I mean, we made more than we know what to do with an opening weekend. So make a really cool experience.
For sure. The next story I've got actually took us a few headlines to wrap our head around, since some of the details felt muddied by a few outlets didn't quite follow it either. But I think I figured it out, so I'm going to break it down.
Okay. All right, let's do this.
Okay, so back in 2016, Twitch streamer James Phantom Lord Varga had his channel taken down by Twitch after it was discovered that Varga owned a site where players of the game Counter-Strike Global Offensive could wager on items within the game. Not only did he fail to disclose ownership of the site to Twitch, but he actually broadcast matches of the game that were rigged in his favor. Now, once Twitch found out about this, they banned him, and then Varga, in turn, attempted to sue Twitch for breach of contract, intentional misrepresentation, negligent misrepresentation, and unfair competition, with the damages as a result of his wrongful termination adding up to be in the millions of dollars. However, within the player's contract that Varga signed, which he admitted he did not read, but I'm not saying that makes it better. I'm just saying he admitted he didn't read it.
Yeah.
Twitch has a limited liability clause within the contract that states that any damages sought through legal means were capped at $50,000, and therefore he could not sue for millions. So, Varga decided to fight the clause, and he won. With the judge stating or calling the cap unconscionable, and adding that from a practical point of view, limiting recovery to $50,000 virtually kills off the odds of any suit against Twitch at all, because you're essentially going to just be paying your lawyer and all these other fees, and you're barely going to get anything out of it to begin with. So they said, no, you're able to sue them for whatever. And with this ruling in his favor, he is now free to pursue his millions of dollars lawsuit.
I think the last I heard, he wanted $35 million.
Okay.
According to a little clip that I saw off of his YouTube from his mouth.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where it, how this plays out, because if he succeeds in getting his millions of dollars, other sharks are going to jump in that blood in the water. So
yeah, I mean, the good thing about that is it is a nice thing for creators, right? So let's just say In his case, I don't feel like he was wrongly banned, but I am not a judge. I do not hold the law. And this has nothing to do with why he was banned, because I had a hard time wrapping my head around it, because I think I was letting why he was banned clouding the judgment. Like, I couldn't put the two together. Like, why would the judge say that was okay? But once I read that the ruling was just about the contract itself and had nothing to do with why he was taken out of the equation, it is a win for creators, because in this day and age with people, how many times have we reported getting day bans or these sorts of things, wrongfully, mind you, because some viewer had a crawl up their butt that day and reported and somehow managed to make it through when there was no reason to report or get banned. That's good for them. Although it's just weird that it has to be this guy paving the way, because I'll grab my popcorn and watch. That's all I'm going to say. But I feel like trying to sue for 35 mil when you were breaking 2 TOSs might be a little bit of a reach. Yeah. But we live in the weirdest timeline, so I have no idea how it's going to turn out.
But I mean, yeah, it would at least be, if he wins the other case, I would be surprised, because at that point you're just saying, okay, now wait a second. So he did actually break his.
That's setting a really bad precedent.
Yeah, exactly. So again, with this, I'm for him winning the other case. I don't want to see that happen, because the guy was.
Let's see if he even moves forward. Yeah, because I mean, he was in the wrong.
Sure.
To my understanding of what I've read of the situation.
That's what it sounded like to me.
Basically, he was scamming people. He was scamming people.
That's what it's.
And broke, I think, Twitch's terms of service, and correct me if I'm wrong, Valve's also with their gambling mechanic for that. So, I mean, let's wait and see what happens.
Wait and see what happens. That's all we can do.
It is a win for content creators overall, but we'll see how it ends up being a win for this guy or not. If he decides to move forward.
Sure.
I mean, hopefully he has a lawyer telling him.
Yeah, I mean, any lawyer with any sense would be like, no. I mean, you're not going to win this.
Like, how about we try for this maybe? But 35 million seems like a lot, because he was like estimating it off how much he was making a month when he was running his little gambling ring or whatever it was. And then,
So, weak sauce as far as I'm concerned. Let's do some quickets. Because I got a handful. I don't have a lot, but I got a handful.
There we go.
First one I've got is, I'm crossing my fingers that the wildly popular Untitled Goose Game may see a release on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, since it blew up. And it's funny, because I felt, when I saw it, I was like, this is going to be so fun. I thought, it would be one of those little things that just fell under the radar. It was appealing to me. It spoke to me. I was like, I really want to play this game. And then the entire world ate it up. It's become a meme. It's become this great thing. Because people want to be an asshole goose.
They really do.
Yeah. So,
and it's so simple. It's just such a simple little game.
I'm glad to see it's getting this type of attention. I really am.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping that I won't have to go out and buy a Switch or whatever to play this, that I can
just play it on I can't imagine the PC specs are that high. I've not looked into it.
I probably could. I'm never at the PC.
Just from like watching it, I can't imagine it would take a lot of resources, but I mean, I don't know these things. I barely look at specs. I probably should, but I know I meet them, so I usually don't worry too much. But it doesn't look like it would be a resource.
No. I just, I'm hardly in front of the computer, and that's why I don't care to play them on the computer, because I just don't. It's just something I don't do.
That's fair.
But I have the option if it's there. So if it never happens, that's how I played Cuphead. I knew it would never come to PlayStation or anything like that, so I was like, I want to play this game.
Yeah.
So I'll get it on PC. And I did. And I played it.
Yeah.
Never beat it, but I played it.
I thought you did. I never did.
No, I never did. I just got to it. Because, again, it's the idea of sitting in front of the computer and playing it. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. That's just me.
We got to get you to hook it up to your TV. So at least then maybe you feel like
I feel like I did at one point, but I just, the work involved with that, I was just like, it's just another one of the things.
It's an HDMI cord. Well, it should be. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Like, if we have to watch like something on a TV show, that isn't on Hulu, but you have to stream it like through their service or whatever.
Right.
We just HDMI cord the laptop to the TV and just watch it like we're watching it on TV.
One game that is getting released on another platform is Red Dead Redemption 2, coming to PC in November. However, I will say this. If you are a Steam user and you were looking to get this in November, you're going to have to wait until December. Now, they didn't say anything about Epic exclusives or anything like that. It's going to be on so many other platforms, but for whatever reason, Steam version will not be out until December. That's just...
I think it's because of all the pre-order bonuses. They want you to get it through their service, the Rockstar thing. Yeah. Because don't you get like a special horse? Probably. Or... there was like, I saw that there was like a couple of things, like if you pre-order, you get a little bonus for, but I'm just like, you know what? I don't want to buy your game again. I know it's going to work on a lot of people, and I had a feeling this time it was going to come out on PC, but I'm not going to buy it again, but I am sad because I would have much rather had it on PC than PlayStation.
I think I'm more interested to see what the modders do with the game because
Oh, God, right?
Yeah, I'd love to see what they come up with. So I'd say all next year, that's what we're going to be seeing. Red Dead Redemption 2 mod.
Probably.
Have whatever the hell in the game. I don't really know what they want to do. Yeah. I can't think of anything.
Whatever skin, mod, script they do. Who knows? Maybe if I see it on some super sale or whatever, I might pick it up again. But as of right now, I'm just going to be sad and jealous from those who had the patience to wait.
Right. See, I never bought it. I just borrowed it.
Or those who have the money to just spend on a game over and over again. I don't know.
Iron Man VR will release on February 28th, 2020, exclusively to PlayStation VR. So if you were looking forward to that, I'll be honest with you. I've looked at it, and there's a part of me that does want to play it, but it's not one of those. Like, I can see the type of game it's going to be. You know what I mean? Where you just like, it's going to kind of be cheap and wonky and. And I could be wrong.
I just feel bad for the devs who do only PlayStation VR because it's like, it's just not the best version of VR right now. And I feel like you could make it for all of it, like give it to those who have the PlayStation VR too. But I feel like you could really benefit from cross all VRs. But
something tells me it'll wind up.
I know?
It'll wind up on PC eventually. You just wait.
Maybe eventually. Yeah.
EA allowed a data leak of players' personal information during a registration for FIFA's 20 Global Series.
Okay.
Yeah, how about that? Yeah. That's wonderful. That's good of them to do so.
It really is very generous to take the work away from you.
I wanted to let everybody know that. And in a move that went completely unannounced by Sony yet again, since they didn't want to announce anything this week, crossplay for the PlayStation 4 is now open to developers. So if they want to do crossplay,
all right, well, there's something.
Yeah, I mean, my only hope at this point is I would love to see Monster Hunter get it crossplay, but I'm not holding my breath either because I think that was one of the discussion points in the house when that happens. Like, they crossplay, and I was like, no. Just because they opened it doesn't mean it's going to happen. Okay, that just means the option is there. It's now up to the developers to do so. So I had to make that very clear.
And I feel like from a dev standpoint, you should.
Sure.
But
I'm sure there's...
I love that they're passing it off on the developer, though. They're like, all right, it's not up to us anymore. Yep. Stop yelling at us when your game is a crossplay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was a sneaky move. It's just like...
We've washed our hands of this Twitter fiasco.
Mm-hmm. It's like, it's there if you want it. The Nintendo Switch is getting an official stylus because nothing says official like a $20 stylus from Nintendo that you can... Because
they've always loved that accessory stuff.
It's going to be, you're going to have a little Mario thing. It's going to have all these little designs. It's going to cost you more than you need to pay because you can buy a $5 or less stylus.
And then wait and see if any games actually take advantage of having it. Is it a notebook all of a sudden? Am I unaware of that feature?
I don't know. I'm sure it's for the...
Like a tablet
it might be for the light or whatever. I don't know. It just said for the Switch.
Okay.
People want styluses. And something that
That's all they talk about.
Because, I've been hearing all about it since its release.
I mean, this for a month, I've just been hearing about how people have a Switch and where the crap is my stylus. And so here you go. Really happy for you guys.
And something that I considered very cool news, Uno released its very first Braille deck.
Oh. And interesting that I'm surprised that it's taken this long, having just gotten this knowledge.
It will be a little more expensive than your typical deck, obviously, because but it's only, we're talking $4. So I think an Uno deck is $6, so this will be about 10.
Okay.
And it actually comes with optional instructions that you can find on Audible if you need it, if you need to know how to play with this deck and all that. So, yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
Very cool. Yeah.
James Bohem. He's the co-founder of Mixer. He's announced...
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
He announced his departure from Microsoft to take a position on the board of directors for GamerGoo. Do you know what GamerGoo is?
I have since, because I had it confused with something else, because there's two different things, because there's some goo that helps clean out your keyboard. And at first that's what I thought it was. It looks like putty or whatever, and it just sets on your keyboard. You pick it up and then you can rinse it off. But yeah, it's for the controllers, right? It's for the grip and sweat proof and all this kind of stuff. I think it's something to do with the controller.
I just read Gamer Lotion and I was
professional.
Gross, because
I don't think it's a lotion. See, now maybe I don't know.
I don't know.
I thought it, whatever.
I thought it was,
maybe I don't.
I found I
don't use controllers ever, so I don't know.
Gamer Lotion is what I saw, so I was like, okay, that's gross.
I don't think it's a lotion.
Alpha Dream, the creators.
Really bad at giving the news.
Alpha Dream, the creators of the Mario and Luigi series for Nintendo's handheld platforms, filed for bankruptcy last week due to a massive debt incurred through high development costs. I'm really sad about this. I haven't played a Mario and Luigi title in a while, but I have played at least 2 of them. And I wanted this series, what they did with this series was exactly what Mario and Luigi, these characters, that's what they needed, because they created the Mushroom Kingdom and made it alive. It's not just, we're platforming through this world and then you're jumping on this and all. No, they created stories, they created narratives, they created a world around these characters, gave Mario and Luigi personalities beyond just big brother, little brother, and that's it. And I really enjoyed what they did. There was a running gag in some of the games where everybody's like, "Oh, it's Mario! Oh, you're so awesome, man! It's so great to meet you. I know you." And looking at Luigi, it's like, "Who are you? Who are you?" And it's a funny little gag, you know. So I would hate to see this series fold because they have to go under. I'm hoping that maybe Nintendo will swoop in and just acquire them so they can do this fully.
Right.
That would be my dream for Alpha Dream, but
which seems a little strange that I guess that hasn't been the case all this time.
Yeah, because it's a great series. If you've never played it and you like Mario and Luigi and you'd like to see a fresh take on it, I would recommend it, because I would love to see them do more, like a Switch version of those games. It would be amazing what they could do with that. I don't know, but yeah, I'm excited. So you found something on GamerGoo? I saw you getting all excited.
Right. It was some sort of well, no, so it was some sort of stop sweaty hands at the source, dry hands for up to 4 hours. So I guess it's the opposite of lotion.
Okay. Weird.
GamerGoo is designed to eliminate sweat and increase your grip. It is available in multiple scents.
Okay, well, that's still weird.
Yeah, so, and then there's instructions. So I was kind of right because I saw a controller in the little ad thing there, but no, you were right. It's some sort of stuff you rub into your hands.
Well, it's weird. Us2 Games, the developer of the award-winning Monument Valley, is currently under investigation due to accusations of anti-union activities by the Independent Workers Union of Great Britain, which is a trade union in the UK. I don't know anything about their laws, but they apparently broke them. So, whoops. Monument.
Whoops.
I mean, Monument Valley, if you've never played that, I would recommend that title as well. It's kind of fun. I think I played it as did I get it for free? I feel like I got it for free on mobile because it was there and I was like, what the hell, sure. And yeah,
Sure,
it was pretty fun. You go through it pretty quick, so I don't expect some long, drawn-out game, but it was pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
Capcom released a look at the next round of DLC for Monster Hunter World coming in November. This time, it seems to be featuring outfits of Leon and Claire from Resident Evil 2. That's kind of my take on like skins like they did with Aloy.
Yeah, it's what
and
it
Ryu.
kind of sounds like. Yeah.
But they did kind of have this one clip, and again, it could just been for the trailer they released where they had their voices in it. So I don't know. Maybe they'll have like a little story like they did with the Geralt or Geralt. I don't know why I said Geralt.
Yeah.
It's like I swallowed it.
Girl.
But also, there will be zombie skins in the game as well, where you can.
This is so weird to me.
Yeah, you can,
And we were like just talking about these strange game crossovers.
yeah. Mhm. And now you can be a zombie hunter because you do walk around like, which is weird.
Oh yeah. Oh geez.
And then your
Okay.
your hub can turn into the the raccoon police station.
Oh right.
So
Okay.
that's kind of neat.
Nice.
And I haven't quite figured this one out, but Mr. X is in the game, but I don't know if he is supposed to be a Palico skin or if it's an actual hunter skin because you kind of see them working in tandem with one another.
Yeah, I'd have to look at it again because it seemed like one article I was reading, and I don't know if it was the one I sent you or not. Maybe it was the same one. Like maybe it was even just a skin on like an NPC.
Yeah, because
from someone that you could buy stuff from or whatever.
Well, someone kind of mentioned,
like how they have those around.
It could have been a skin for the I can't remember what she's called.
Reskin of the handler NPC, a guild receptionist in Astera.
Yeah.
Is the from what they can tell. So like nobody has anything solid, it looks
Sure.
like, but
Yeah, that was it. And there's also something involving the character Tofu, which they didn't really go into great detail. They just kind of showed him as like some little chain hanging from a sword. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't understand the appeal of that weird character. It's just like some weird thing. Somebody was high one day making Resident Evil 2 and said, let's create a character that's just a block of tofu, man. Okay, cool.
Yeah. That's scary though, tofu.
Mm. It is.
Have you tried to eat
I have.
tofu?
No, you don't like it? You gotta
No.
do it right. You gotta cook it with something right.
I'm one of those people, man. Texture in food is a big deal.
Okay.
And it is not a pleasant texture.
I can eat it. I mean, it's
Yeah, but why though? Anyone can, but there's so many choices.
There are so many
these
choices.
days that I can't understand why we settle on tofu.
well, I mean, it's trying to get out of the meat thing. I'm not saying I'm a vegan or anything like that, but
okay, we got all these Impossible Burger stuff now.
I mean,
this is vegan and vegetarian heaven starting to happen right now.
I mean,
guys.
I would like to try an Impossible Burger. I've had like the black bean burgers
Like a good
and
one,
stuff
yeah.
like that, and they are really good. But I've always heard about Impossible Burger being amazing, and I would like to try one.
It depends on where you go. I have like one vegetarian friend that I know that, and I can't remember. I think it was some local place though to where they live, but that they actually almost sent it back because they were very convinced that they were given meat.
Wow.
Like that's how close the texture and everything has gotten now. So he was like, nope, I swear to God, the whole time I thought they gave me a burger. And when she came back, the server, and was like, no, that's the right thing, and
It's pretty impressive.
So,
Mhm.
yeah. So I don't know if it's the same at like whatever fast food place that I heard is doing one now, but at some local shops, apparently, like your local restaurants or little chains or whatever, they're not doing a bad job. Coming from somebody who's been a vegetarian most of his life. So
Sure. NetherRealm Studios released the first official trailer for the upcoming Terminator DLC. I felt like the gameplay was badass. The character looks badass, but that voice, man, it's God. It was like I knew it was coming. Okay, and I had my fingers crossed that the guy was going to speak, and it'd be like, okay, he's passing as Arnold pretty good, but no, it was just like,
yeah.
I am the Terminator, and I was like, oh God. Okay, that's terrible. I would rather you just be
We should have just made him a mute.
Yeah, exactly. I would have rather you just not say a word. And then, some guy could walk up and be like, who are you supposed to be? And he just looks at him and flips him off or something like this. Like, oh, that's how it's going to be, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure.
Right, exactly.
Because how do you get the rights to his face and not get his voice?
I don't get that whole thing either. Like, legalities are so weird to me.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
I don't know. Unless he had to turn it down for some reason.
It's
like if he had
voice
something
work.
going on at the same time. I don't know, man. I'm not a massive celebrity. I don't know what your day looks like.
Voice work.
Mine is spent mostly in my pajamas.
And you
all
know
day
what?
long.
That right there. I've heard voice actors on numerous occasions, and when they talk about their work process now, for like.
But he doesn't do voice work.
Doesn't
normally.
matter.
Let's be real. That's probably his one asset that doesn't work in his favor.
But still, you could have somebody come to his house with recording equipment. He could sit around in his pajamas, have a beer, whatever, and just sit there and say, all right, say these lines, 2 hours of your day, tops. There you go. Good. We got the lines. We'll see you later.
Yeah.
Boom, done.
I'm with you on it. Don't get me wrong. I'm on your side. I'm just saying I don't know a day in the life of Arnold.
It's sad. It's all this is.
Maybe he doesn't like video games, but he's like, screw it. You can take my face because I don't have to do anything for it. I don't know.
Stupid. Anyway, a dish.
I'm really making him out to be the bad guy
You are.
here.
I
don't wanna. That was my good Arnold voice. Did you like it?
I mean, it was terrible, but
Like how you think it's going to sound in your head to what it actually sounds like when it leaves your mouth. It's so weird. My brain worked against me there.
Yeah, it did. Additionally, to this DLC, there's going to be a skin for Sonya Blade, giving her a very Sarah Connor vibe. So I think it's like the Terminator 2 Sarah Connor, where she's got the hat and the sunglasses, and she's looking all militant and badass. So there's that.
Gotcha.
Plus, they kind of snuck out another tease for, I guess, the next DLC, because I think the next DLC was going to be Joker, which doesn't make any sense. Joker should have been right now, don't you think? I mean, I know.
I don't know what's going on anymore.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, Joker just came out in
yeah,
theaters.
no, in timing with the movie, it would have been.
And
yeah, a little extra boom.
I know the new Terminator movie's coming out this month too, but I don't know. They should have figured that out. Release them both at the same time.
Yeah.
But there was another tease for another like skin that's going to be in the game for Cassie, and it looked like it was going to be Harley Quinn's outfit. So that'll be released alongside with the Joker, which is kind of neat.
Got it.
The first official look at the upcoming VR title, The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, was released alongside an official release date of January 23rd, 2020, and it will be coming out on the Oculus Rift. I don't really know. They didn't go into great detail about this game, about what it's going to be.
Yeah, a friend shared a trailer, and that's about all I saw too. So I'm sure I have the same information. So, it looks like it'll be cool.
Sure.
If you're into being in a zombie universe in VR.
Yeah, we know Todd would be all over it if it was PSVR, but it's not. And lastly, on November 15th.
Yeah, I think it was like more like a VR action survival Telltale kind of version thing of it, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. And I think it actually is being produced by Skybound, which is who the creators. That's Robert Kirkman's company. So I think it'll be done proper, unlike an AMC game that came out that we won't speak of.
Oh, God.
Anyway, on November...
I just pretend it doesn't exist.
On November 15th, some known celebrities like Daredevil's Deborah Ann Wall and Matthew Lillard of Scream and Scooby-Doo fame will be attending Lost Odyssey, the Book of Knowledge, which is a live D&D experience being held to raise money and awareness for the Autism Society of America. So how about that?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Are you ready for some truth or trash?
Let's do it.
I got 4.
See if I can get anything.
I think they're pretty good. First, the PlayStation 5 will have its very own Alexa Siri type AI.
Oh, true. I don't even have to think about that one. It just makes sense.
All right.
This is probably like the first no I'm going to get the whole time, but nope. You got to compete with Xbox, don't they have their own version or something?
Well,
like way back when the Kinect first happened.
Well, funny you should say that, because on the opposite side of this story, the Xbox Scarlett is being designed around an all-new Kinect hardware.
Ooh, true. I feel like they would have to. Because they can't get rid of the Kinect. I've heard good things that, like, as far as console cameras go, it's very superior.
Okay. So we'll see.
Even if it did creep me out when I first heard it was announced however many years ago. It really creeped me out.
Okay, the next one is Bethesda will announce the Fallout Legacy Collection next month.
You know what? I'm going to say true because I don't think Bethesda knows any better.
Okay.
Like, they're just going to keep shoving stuff out there and seeing who's going to be okay with it.
Yeah, I would.
And maybe this time people won't get sick from it or get what they want or think they're getting. But totally, Bethesda would do this.
Well, this Legacy
They'll sell you
collection
anything.
is supposed to contain all the games except 76. So I have 1, 2, 3, New Vegas, 4.
Well, then, yeah, totally. Even better.
Okay. There you go.
The games that were good. Yeah, that sounds good.
And lastly, because we have yet to accurately decide who the next Super Smash Brothers Ultimate DLC character is going to be. So you know what? We've got it right now. This is it. This is hands down. These are going to be the. We got 4 of them. Okay.
I can't wait. You're going to tell me something so off base. It's going to be ridiculous.
And they're going to be in the game. They're going to be in the game. We're saying it now. They're going to be in the game, or at least I think so. But I mean, you have to decide.
So already a true.
Well,
I trust you.
I'm going to give you. You decide because it is
okay.
Bandana Waddly Dee.
Never heard of it.
No, it's just like a Kirby enemy, which is very random. So.
No.
Okay.
Could I say false?
That's fine.
True. Trash.
Okay, we'll say trash for that one. Professor E. Gadd.
Oh my God! You're gonna name all these things. I have no idea what it is.
Okay, well, Professor E. Gadd.
And then I'm gonna get added on Twitter. Like, how do you not know who this is?
Well, Professor E. Gadd was the guy he was like the secondary character in Luigi's Mansion. He was the little crazy looking professor guy who gave Luigi the vacuum.
Yeah.
True.
Okay.
But he just doesn't seem.
Well, at least he was there at some point, kind of.
Yeah, but is he a fighter? I don't know. The next one.
But aren't we also talking about like a game that brought in like Persona 5 characters and things like that? Yeah.
Rayman.
Oh, true.
Okay.
Yeah. Why not? I'm going to just say true to those that I know.
Well, then you should know this last one because
be
the last one is a big one. Crash Bandicoot.
Oh, true.
Okay.
Yes.
There you go.
Totally.
There you go.
Yeah.
They're all coming.
No to the first 2.
Yeah, they're all coming to Smash Brothers. You didn't know it, or at least I think they're all coming. You say 2 and 2.
You think they
all
all
are? Yeah, sure.
are?
Why not?
Okay.
Why not? Let's just go balls to the wall crazy.
At this point,
we had Terry show up. Everyone knows who Terry is.
Terry, for crying out loud.
Yeah. I know, I'm probably pissing somebody off. Anyway, let's do.
But it makes you want to keep going a little, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Let's do some weird news. I've got one little weird news snippet because, I remember a time when we could talk about Twitch and go, yeah, they're all right. And now I'm just kind of under.
Sometimes, yes, still.
Okay, but I'm just kind of under the assumption now that because it's become a place that has kind of a reputation, we're only getting the worst news.
Oh, I'm sure at this point that we're in the weirdest timeline for them, for sure.
Like we only seek out the weird stuff. So an example of this is there was a streamer on Twitch that apparently lost his damn mind because his internet chose not to work. So he got frustrated because the thing, it was skipping and causing him to blip out or whatever happens when you stream.
This is a streamer?
Yeah. He was having
Okay.
internet issues, and he got so frustrated he kneed his keyboard across his, broke it in half with his knee.
Oh, that's good.
And shattered it everywhere while, the entire
That
world
helped.
could see.
Sure.
And then he...
While his internet wasn't working, he was still live?
somehow, yeah, it was just really weird. I'm guessing it was intermittent, like it wasn't working like it should.
Oh,
so
maybe
it was
he
like,
was dropping frames or something.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then he continued to destroy whatever was in his room, and then he realized that he was doing something wrong, and decided maybe he needed to just stop stream altogether before he destroyed everything. So I'm kind of thinking this guy needs some anger management, because damn.
Because, yeah, did it help your internet?
No. Yeah.
Now you're just out a keyboard, probably a mouse. And if you're a gamer, probably you invested a little bit in those.
Sure.
Not saying they had to be hundreds of dollars, but
No, but
70, 80, 90 bucks, still a lot, you know?
Yep. So, people, man.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I've seen those rage videos where people break their controllers and throw them and all that kind of stuff. It's probably best to stop a smidge before that,
Sure.
because you're really just hurting yourself even more by destroying your own stuff.
I agree. All right, well, I'm going to go through some release dates, because there are a lot of release dates, or at least a lot for our first day, because on October 8th, man, oh man, there are some games coming out. Let me tell you.
Yeah. What do we got?
First of all, we have John Wick Hex coming to PC. Yeah, you're excited. Then we have Trine 4, the Nightmare Prince for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC. Plus, you can get the Trine Ultimate Collection for all platforms as well, which will collect 1 through 4. I bought a collection before I knew there was going to be a 4, so now I've got to get this one.
Damn it.
Yeah.
That's my luck.
But, it was a
When
good
I always
sale.
buy something the day before it goes on sale. I'm you son of a...
But, it was a good sale, so I got them for cheap. And I would recommend them if you've never played them. They're fun games. There's also Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, and PC. I thought the first game was kind of...
It was all right. Yeah.
I'm surprised they got a sequel. Then... No?
I don't understand sometimes
Yeah.
when sequels come out where I'm okay.
Okay. Call of Cthulhu, the official video game, comes to Nintendo Switch. Indivisible for PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. Battlestar Galactica Deadlock for Nintendo Switch. Grid for PC. Concrete Genie for PlayStation 4. Reventure for Nintendo Switch. Tropico 6 for Xbox One. Worse Than Death for Nintendo Switch and PC. Asphalt 9 Legends for Nintendo Switch. Atlas for Xbox One. Burger Time Party for Nintendo Switch. A Winter's Daydream for Xbox One and Nintendo Switch. The Alliance Alive HD Remastered for PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch. Soccer Tactics and Glory for PlayStation 4 and Nintendo Switch. And Dodge Hard for Nintendo Switch. Then on October 9th, hey, it's my birthday! It's Stellatum. Stellatum? Yeah. Stellatum for Xbox One and...
Is that the game you wanted for your birthday?
No, nothing good's coming out on my birthday. Stellatum for Xbox One and Nintendo Switch. Draw a Stickman Epic 2 for Xbox One, and Mist Over for Nintendo Switch. Then on October 10th, we have Asgard's Wrath for PC VR.
I want to play this one.
Did look fun. Spirit Hunter NG for PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, and PC. River City Melee Mach for PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, and PC. Mist Over for PlayStation 4. Mabel in the Wood for Nintendo Switch. Volfaris for Nintendo Switch and PC. And I feel like this next one I said last week for Nintendo Switch, but I'm going to say it again because it's also coming out on PC, is BDSM, the Big Drunk Satanic Massacre. Nintendo Switch and PC, so I guess it got delayed because that seems to be happening all the time now.
It really does.
Then We Were Here Together for PC, Pine for Nintendo Switch, Tangle Tower for Nintendo Switch, and Contraptions for Nintendo Switch. Then finally on October 11th, we have Frostpunk Console Edition for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Grid for PlayStation 4. Twin Cop, which I'm almost positive was one of our Name That Game games for Xbox One.
Yeah.
Active Soccer for 2019 for Xbox One. Killer Queen Black for Nintendo Switch and PC. Doraemon Story of Seasons for Nintendo Switch and PC. And Earthfall for Nintendo Switch.
Excellent.
It's time to play Name That Game. And cut. All right. Today's choices are just
Are they
like
all
last week.
gens?
Last week, I think I was just like, well, they were just, there's an interesting one here. Now, this week, it's like we went back to the bottom of the barrel and found the worst games. These have to be shovelware. They cannot be anything but asset flips and shovelware because they are terrible games. At least they sound terrible. And trust me, I'll make them sound terrible. Yeah, the first one, in this game, you must shoot to the pink points to undress the girl. But keep an eye on the timer and the bullets. With 8 different levels that increase in difficulty, you'll wonder why you're putting this much effort in trying to see a naked woman when Pornhub is only a few clicks away.
Really? I mean, that's true.
Yeah. So, is this game A, Bang Bang
That's it.
Boogie? Do what?
Okay, I'm sorry. And then you were like, "What in this game is?" And I'm like, "Oh my god, that's all of the description." Okay.
Yeah. No. There was.
Sorry,
I mean,
what
there
was
was
the first one. I was
there were a
expecting
few-
a little bit more, but
No. I mean, once you kind of get through it, I was like, no, I'm going to narrow this down to this because that's all it is. Is the first one, is it A, Bang Bang Boobies, B, Strip Shooter, C, Precision Pink, or D, Building Patience for Rape?
oh, that's good. God, I hope it's not D. Oh man, I'm conflicted because I feel like it could be. We have had games with that in the title before.
Sure.
I'm gonna go with what was A, Bang Bang something.
Bang Bang Boobies?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Bang Bang Boobies.
Okay. Answer is B, Strip Shooter.
Damn. That actually was the one I thought it wasn't. Because the other one said something about pink, and I was like, that could be. All right.
I mean, it's one of those things that it's so blunt and to the point. Strip Shooter.
Yeah. I was like,
what
bang,
you're
bang,
doing.
get some boobs. You know?
Sure. Okay, well, this next game, and I'm going to make sure that I read it as verbatim as possible because, the English was great. This game is a VR music game which the user could watch and experience the beautifully and sexily girls dancing around the user. At first, only one girl and one dance can watch and experience. When the user finishes watching a dance completely, they will unlock new girl and dance. In the first version, there will be 10 girls and 10 dances for users to enjoy and experience. And then there will be more girls and dance updates. Are you with me?
I'm totally with you. So, in
Good.
other words, you're sitting in a virtual strip club.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And again, Pornhub's just a click away.
It really is.
So,
But I mean, this makes you feel like you're in the action.
sure.
So VR, fine.
But
Although I think there are websites for that too.
But they have
Or
VR.
they build them in VR.
But they have VR experiences too.
Yeah. We actually had this conversation. I will admit this on the podcast. I did look up VR porn out of morbid curiosity, and it's really scary.
Yeah, I would imagine.
It's really scary. But in a hilarious way. But I kind of was like, oh, it's too much.
Yeah.
It's right
Well,
there.
you have, I mean, you can take and imagine what she's talking about. We'll leave it there. So
yeah.
Is this game A, Dancing Queen, B, Sexily Woman's, C, VR Lap Dance, or D, For When the Strip Club Banned You?
Ah! No, D's too cute. That's got to be you. VR strip club, I guess it was C. I'm just
VR
gonna
lap
go with
dance.
the straight plain one. Oh, VR lap dance. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with the straight plain one.
Answer is A, Dancing Queen.
Boo.
Boo.
No, it is now called VR lap dance.
Okay. And this last one, it starts off so well. Okay.
Because
when your descriptor starts off with this first line, you know it's going to be a class act game. Are you ready?
Okay. Yeah.
Don't be offended and shake your fist in anger. This game doesn't want to offend anyone, or it's only made for humor. Our hero is a guy with non-traditional orientations. In the game, he is in a harsh reality, but he does not lose heart. He brings all joy and happiness. The game awaits. RPG, horror, arena, race, and I meant to say horror on purpose because I
was just gonna say
they misspelled. Race, which will all be a lot of puzzles and tests. In RPG, it is necessary to repaint graffiti and to change monuments without having caught sight of enemies. And enemies are very clever. Every enemy has its AI. For example, grandmothers can call for help, and bears love to dance.
I don't know what even is happening right now.
Horror game will not allow you to relax, as you will always need to walk only under the light. No noise. If you touch the subject, you will immediately find. Unique bosses are waiting for you in the arenas and in the races. The track will surprise you with its jumps, slides, traps, and beautiful views.
I don't even know.
Are you with me?
I don't even know what this. This just sounds like word salad. Like, is this okay?
But don't be offended.
Okay, I won't.
Okay, because your choices are
Good God.
A, sup queer, B, hi gay, C, greetings lesbian, or D, what do British people call cigarettes?
Oh dear, like I want to get this one wrong, actually. So I should just choose D because I'm almost 100% certain that was yours. Good God, fine. I don't know. B, hi gay.
Answer is B, hi gay.
Oh, good damn it. The one I get right, I feel ashamed. I didn't hear you actually describing a game though. Like what's the gameplay? A barrel dance, but don't get mad about that.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a homosexual element in the game apparently.
But there was nothing about that in the description.
Exactly. Other than your hero is a guy with non-traditional orientations. That's it. He could be pansexual for all we know. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. This game confused me.
Yeah, that's not a game.
No, it's a train wreck.
Developers.
All right.
Good Lord.
Today, I'm going to be telling you a story again.
Story time.
It's story time and this is one that I thought for a moment that maybe I had told, but I hadn't. I had only told a portion of this story. That's why it seemed so familiar to me at one point. And I'll explain why, because sometimes I don't think we realize that an entire generation has grown up in my lifetime and your lifetime
Yeah.
Because I remember when older people would look at me and say, "You wouldn't know so-and-so. That's before your time." And to their surprise, I would actually know it because I knew and grew up knowing pop culture in a way that I just did. You know, these things were presented to me. Like if I said the name Bob Hope to a kid today, I'm sure they'd be like, "I don't know who that is."
Yeah.
Who's Don Adams? Who's Hogan's Heroes and F Troop and all these things, but they wouldn't know what that is. But if I said Ninja, they'd be like, "Oh, yeah. Or, I mean, we're living in different times because the fact that Ozzy Osbourne was discovered recently hurts my brain.
Post Malone or something, was it?
But anyway, I've always had these things, so it's a little hard for me to kind of remove myself from that idea that kids don't know certain things. They know of a thing, but they don't know what it was or what it used to be.
Right.
So I guess what I'm trying to get at is we all look at Nintendo as a video game company that has outlasted so many. They've been around for quite a while. In fact, you may not even know this to be true, but Nintendo has actually been around for 130 years. Now, granted, they have not been making...
I knew that, but it wasn't video games,
They weren't making video games. They were making what is known as Hanafuda cards, which is a game they play in Japan. I've tried to learn, and I'm confused by it still. I feel like there's an element to it that I just don't understand, and that could be cultural for all I know, but I would love to learn how to play it. It seems interesting. But we think of Nintendo as this, they came out in the 80s, and they're, the NES, and they were gaming giants, and look where they are today, and that's what we know it is. And they might not rival Xbox and PlayStation in terms of power, but they have IP that will survive for decades. I guarantee that. That's what they're going to ride on for years. And if today's generation would think that maybe Nintendo was the first video game company, it wouldn't surprise me.
I was going to say it's quite possible they do. Or even those who might know Atari. Maybe.
Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. Because Nintendo is not the first video game company. And in fact, the history is a little bit muddy on what you want to officially refer to as the first. Now, if I were to ask you right now, Lace, what the first video game made was, what would be your answer?
Probably Pong.
And you wouldn't be too far off. But
that's what comes to mind.
And I think that is universally agreed upon as, that's the first video game. But some would argue that it's Space War. Do you know what Space War is?
Is it like Space Invaders?
No. It's
no, I don't.
old... This was a game that was developed in 1962 at MIT by a man named Stephen Russell. And it was not a commercially available video game, but it was a video game. So technically, it would have been one of the first video games, if not the first. But I can even pull back that even farther and say that the very first game was Turo Champ, which was a chess simulator developed by Alan Turing and David Champernowne in 1948.
Oh, wow.
Depends on where you want to actually put that down as what classifies as a video game.
Sure.
Now, what about the first console? If I was to ask you, what do you think the very first video game console is, what would you say?
Well, I would say probably like 16-bit Atari, but I feel like I know for a fact there was one before it, and I just can't remember what it was called.
And a lot of people probably have forgotten because many would probably agree that the Atari 2600, that was the first big video. Sure, it was the first popular one.
First one that,
Yeah.
Go ahead, because I don't remember the name of it.
The very, very first video game console was the Magnavox Odyssey, and it released in September of 1972.
Yeah. I feel like I remember reading that.
Now, the point of all of this is to say that while Atari may not be the first at everything, they are truly responsible for the first commercially available video game, as well as the very first commercially available arcade video game. It's actually known as Computer Space, which I think was a variation of Space War, the one I mentioned before. Like, they took that idea and turned it into computer space. And it was also had the first commercially successful video game, which was Pong. Which, funny enough, is ironically was an arcade version of the game Table Tennis, which was released 2 months prior on the failed Magnavox Odyssey.
Interesting. Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So all of this kicked off in 1971 with Nolan Bushnell and Ted Dabney designing Computer Space, which was a variation of Space War. Now, by 72, the two had incorporated Atari Incorporated. See what I did there? I should have just said Inc.
Yep.
Using the term which meant neighborhood in Japan, or in Japanese, to invoke a parallel in regards to the location of arcades. Although other stories suggest it was a reference to a position in the game Go, when a group of stones is imminently in danger and being taken by one of the opponents is the Atari.
Okay.
I don't know. You'll notice there are a lot of conflicting things in these stories. I think the longer it goes, you hear different
Game
things.
of telephone is played. Yeah.
Sure. Over the next few years, Atari would help develop and distribute a number of arcade titles, but none would actually be as well known as Pong, which actually saw 3 additional sequels or variations, if you will, like Super Pong and Double Pong, or I don't know. I can't remember them all. I didn't write them down, but there were other Pong titles, and they were just banking off of the popularity of Pong.
Yep.
In fact, Pong was so popular that Atari made a home console version of the game in 1975 that was essentially a box with 2 knobs on it that you can connect to your TV using what was at the time the highest performing computer chip in a consumer product. Fun fact, just keep in mind what I described there. It's a box with 2 knobs that you turn. Mm-hmm. The console's code name was Darlene. Think about that one. Anyway, this push into the home market prompted Magnavox to actually file a lawsuit against Atari and other companies for copyright infringement over Pong because it was so popular and everybody could make Pong. And then Magnavox was like, we did that first. It's like, yeah, but your console didn't sell, so...
So we just stole your idea, sucker.
Yeah. Now, by 1976, Atari wanted to get all of their games into households across the country, so they began development on the Atari Video Computer System, which we all know is the 2600, with a nice wood finish. And
yeah, I have one still. It's useless because I have no way to plug it into anything, but I have one still.
But still, yeah. Now, at $199, consumers received the console, 2 joysticks, a pair of paddles, and the game Combat. Now, while all of this sounds like a deal today, consider back in 1976 that $199 adjusted for inflation would be about the equivalent of $900. It was expensive.
Yeah.
So, Nolan Bushnell knew this could be a success, and it would be an expensive one to reach. But they were going to push for it. So, looking for outside investors, Bushnell sold Atari to Warner Communications for an estimated $30 million. Keep that amount in your head as
like
we continue down this road.
$10 billion today.
Well, it gets... When this story continues to progress, you'll understand why that's...
Okay.
It's a shame.
I just like to pretend I know things.
Sure. But it is, yeah. I mean, $30 million seems quaint today.
Right.
I mean, a movie can make that in a weekend. With a
One
large...
day.
Yeah. One day. With a large corporation having control, changes started coming down the pipeline, such as the dissolution of Atari's pinball division, which I didn't mention, but I didn't see it being really necessary at this point. They were doing arcade stuff. Mm-hmm. The idea of discontinuing the console, Bushnell actually came to them for in the first place. Warner was like, nah, we should just do away with that. So that was a point of contention. And then other directions the company wanted to go in, Bushnell just did not agree with what they were doing, but he came to them.
Yeah.
So he just said, screw it, I'm out. Although other reports would say he got fired, he says he quit. Again, telephone tag, who knows?
Yeah.
Now, despite this hiccup, the well-known Atari 2600 actually did sell well in consumer markets and even accounted for a third of Warner's annual income at the time. During this boom, Atari was attempting to keep up with the competition as the home computer revolution was starting to take off. Atari developed a keyboard console branded the Atari 800 and even a smaller 400 model to compete with the home consoles like the Commodore and things like that. And it wasn't until 1982 that Atari upgraded the 2600 to the 5200 in an effort to kickstart the next generation of game consoles, but unfortunately, the lack of game incompatibility with the 2600, unreliable controllers, and a lack of games prevented the 5200 from being a success. Now, on top of that failure, internal company struggles and the video game crash of 1983, which I know I've mentioned prior to this, damaged the company significantly. One such deal that the company lost involved Nintendo. The company had recently released the Famicom system in Japan, and it was to great acclaim, and we all know how awesome the Nintendo is. So, I mean, the Famicom is just that. They were looking to release it stateside, but they wanted to use Atari's name and branding in the console to kind of help push it because they were really not known here in the States. So they thought, well, we'll take Atari, and everybody knows Atari.
Right.
Boom. Win-win. And they were going to brand it the Nintendo Advanced Video Gaming System. Now, there was a deal in place to be finalized. It was so close, but it got delayed after Atari learned that one of its competitors was illegally using Nintendo's Donkey Kong game to demonstrate its own hardware. So this turned out to be a license violation, which sent the thing into a tailspin. You had executives moving on past the deal because it was like, well, this is going to be held up. I got stuff to do. And even Atari's CEO at the time got fired. Because of this delay, Nintendo backed out and they did their own thing independently, and now we see what happened.
Now, yep.
In 1984, Warner Communications sold the home computing and game console division of Atari to Jack Tramiel, again, another name we have mentioned prior. He was the man who founded the Commodore International, one of Atari's competitors. Jack had recently walked away from Commodore and ventured out into his own. With this purchase, he founded Atari, a 20% stake in, and the remaining arcade division of the company continued under the name Atari Games, but was sold to Namco in 1985. Effectively, that became the end of the original company as we knew it, as now it was separated into two separate entities. But the brand did still exist at the time. Under Tramiel, Atari Corporation eventually began recouping losses and pumped out new hardware like the Atari ST computer. In 1989, Atari released its first and only handheld console, the Lynx. Do you remember the Lynx? I don't think I ever played one.
I do. I never had one, but I remember it.
It could not compete with the more affordable and much more reliable Nintendo Game Boy, although some of this could be contributed to the lack of availability during its launch session at Christmas that year. Now, Tramiel was so disappointed at the system's failure, he tried suing Nintendo, claiming that they had an illegal monopoly in the video game space. But the case was rejected by a U.S. District Court, saying, nope, this is no good. Now, despite that, Atari attempted to jump back into the hardware game one more time with the Atari Jaguar, the only 64-bit console on the market at the time. This was in 1993 when the Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis, both 16-bit consoles, were in their prime.
Okay.
So no one even considered a 32-bit console, let alone a 64-bit console.
Yeah.
They were way ahead of the game. But unfortunately, all the power under the hood wasn't enough to hold a dedicated audience because they didn't have anything to sell. Just the hardware. You've got to have games to back it up. You got to... And price. I'm sure the price was not cheap either.
Oh, no.
Despite the Jaguar's failure, the company was no longer in dire straits. The company was left with just nothing to sell. So they were just like, well, what do we do now? We've got all this money and nothing to do with it. Now, Jack Tramiel was ready to let the company go at that point, and he actually merged Atari Corp. With another company called JTS Incorporated in 1996. Less than 2 years later, JTS sold the Atari name and its assets to Hasbro Interactive for $5 million. Yeah, let that sink in for a minute. That really cemented how devalued the brand had become at that point.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
At the end of the year 2000, French software publisher Infogrames took over Atari Interactive and began publishing under the Atari label with games like V-Rally 3, Neverwinter Nights, and coincidentally, Enter the Matrix, which was a Warner Brothers property.
Wow.
So,
yeah.
how about that? Now, as the company grew, they continued to rebrand with Atari at the forefront. Infogrames' EU division became Atari Europe, Hasbro Interactive became Atari Interactive, and Infogrames' own U.S. subsidiary became Atari Incorporated, which Infogrames actually, and this was one of those business deals that I didn't quite understand. I understand subsidiaries, so maybe this is why it was just like my brain was like, Infogrames actually bought all the public shares for Atari Incorporated that they just rebranded, their own subsidiary, and then essentially made it a wholly owned subsidiary, private, back into the, I don't know, business is strange sometimes. Mm-hmm. You have a subsidiary and they're like, no, I'm just going to buy that. We're going to bring it all in. Let's fold it all in.
Right.
Now, it seemed that the company and its brands were making a comeback, but alas, it wasn't a financial, or it was... Let me try that again, because I'm looking at my words. Sure, okay, there we go. I'm back in. It seemed the company was trying to make a comeback, but its financial issues continued to plague the company. By 2013, 4 related Atari companies filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in the Southern District Court of New York. 3 of these 4 companies would combine their efforts 1 year later to form the Atari Casino. A casino. I didn't even know that existed.
I didn't either.
And in a new corporate strategy focused on LGBT, social casinos, real money gambling, and YouTube. Now, I personally have not seen any of these connections to those claims, but okay, good for them. Now, the new Atari decided to return to their roots when they announced the Atari box in 2017 that we've spoken about in the past. However, as of right now, the system has not seen its launch date as of yet, but it should be next year, I think, March or April of next year.
Sounds about right.
Now, I mean, it's interesting how it's kind of come back around to the console market, how they've gone in this big loop. And you may be asking yourself, because, I left out a little point, what about Atari games? Because if you recall, I said that another division got split off and sent to Namco. Well, what I would ask you to do at this point is go refer to yourself to episode 57 of our podcast, where we talk about the clever machinations of Tengen, and that's where you'll find the rest of that tale. That's where that diverges. But it goes a ways back. I understand that you have to search, but I'm not going to repeat that story. It's there.
Right.
Go find it.
We've done it. Yeah.
It's a great story. Anyway, I found it interesting that the company responsible for the emergence of the home console market and several firsts within the video game world has gone from a console leader to nothing more than a nostalgic brand. I mean, how many kids look at Atari and think, console? I guarantee a lot of them are like, hey, that's on a t-shirt.
Right.
Because
or I bought a game that had that in the title.
Sure.
Because I know they were still like, whoever bought the name or whatever was still publishing games and stuff like that. So,
and plus, look at the new console, the Atari box. They got that decked out wood finish, the paneling. That's nostalgia. That is nothing more than selling nostalgia.
Yeah, and like I said, I still have mine.
Mm-hmm. And while it was a great design, and I still think it's a great design, you can only ride so much in nostalgia, and I personally don't think that being first is always a good thing.
Yeah, usually that's what you look back on to improve upon.
Sure.
You're like, oh, when that company did this, so we should probably try, I mean, always thankful for the first.
Sure. And now think about that, though. There were a few interesting details within that history.
Oh,
but
yeah.
how interesting would it have been? Because there are 2 moments in history, I don't know if you know this or not, where Nintendo was so close to teaming with another company, one of its rivals. So had Nintendo teamed with Atari for the NES, would Atari have survived as a brand? Or would they have taken Nintendo down with them?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Furthermore,
I mean,
go ahead.
no, yeah, I like to think about. I feel like maybe it would have helped.
Sure.
Because I feel like at least the team at Nintendo would have remained the same, I would imagine, and using their knowledge and everything to move everything forward.
I mean,
I don't know if we know Atari though. The name might have been dissolved.
Sure.
You know?
I feel like that the games, and I really feel like a lot of the games and everything, Nintendo would have still maintained good quality for a while because, I mean, it was impressive at the time. You compare it to an Atari and you get a Nintendo and you're like, shit, this is,
oh yeah,
far and away much.
Look at all the colors. Look what I can do. Yeah.
So, I mean, there's that difference. So I really feel like the Nintendo would have still worked and been successful, but would they have created Nintendo of America? Would they have had those strict guidelines of not shoveling games onto the console all the time, like Atari had a tendency of doing? And would it have kind of collapsed the system?
Right.
So, I'm not sure. I mean, the other instance I was referring to is when Nintendo was looking to team up with Sony over the PlayStation to create one super console, and once that deal fell through, they created their biggest rival.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
who knows? I don't know. It's interesting.
Well, the competition is what makes everything better. So
it does.
Yeah.
It's just funny how we get there. I mean, when you really look at those stories, you're like, wow, that's...
And the people who were the stepping stones that got us to here that we so easily forget because they may not have been around for a long time now or within your generation,
Right.
Just sad.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's my story this week. I hope everyone enjoyed it. If you learned a little something about Atari.
Yeah.
Because I felt like we hadn't talked about Atari, and they are the first of many things. And at least the one that I always go back to, because I may not have owned one, but they were the first video game that I remember, console I remember.
Well, yeah, it was like, I think technically like my mom's. So like I had it by default because I feel like it was in the house before I was born. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I remember playing it a lot. Like I remember playing the Donkey Kong, and I played Space Invaders, and I played Pong, and I did all those, and even some random ones that probably nobody really had heard of. Because as you said, they pushed out a lot of games. But we used to have those old cassette drawers.
Yeah.
You could like pull out and you could slide the cassettes in. That was what we kept our Atari games in. So we had like 2 sleeves. What was it, like 10, I guess, a piece. So for 20 games, like that's back in the day. That was huge, man. Like,
sure.
It's so many.
I mean, I remember I had cousins that had an Atari 2600, and that's where I actually got first introduced to it. But then the more I think on it, there were other people I knew that had an Atari. Even when I had a Nintendo at home, there were other people that had video games, had Ataris, and it was just commonplace, like a Nintendo eventually became. So it was just like something you had. And it's interesting because I guess even today, it is commonplace. Either you have a PlayStation, you have an Xbox, a Switch, a Wii. People have these in their home. I mean, most people do.
Yeah,
I mean, the fact that
like
my
growing
parents
up now,
have
I remember
a Wii,
I think it was the girl across the street who had one, which made me want one, and then like all of us ended up having one.
Sure. So it's interesting, to say the least. It makes you wonder what'll be in another 30, 40 years.
Oh my God. What we're talking about now will be so archaic.
Sure.
It'll just be like we're touching our temple and we're instantly in a game.
It's like, do you remember when you had to press a button? You had to slide in a
schlubs.
disc.
They used controllers.
Duh. Oh my
like,
God.
we just use our hands now. Like, can you believe they used to have keyboards and all of this stuff? It's crazy.
Just put on your glasses and play the game. God.
Just damn. God.
God.
Mom, I don't know anything.
I'm gonna go play with game. And just stick something in your eye.
Right. It's like those Black Mirror episodes where they just like wear these contacts lenses or whatever and just like zone out on the couch.
Yep. Well, anyway, that's our show. Hope everybody enjoyed.
Excellent.
I hope everyone will be looking forward to next week because I have a little something planned for next week that I think will be fun.
Ooh. Even
So
I don't know.
No, but that's why I'm gonna spring it on you because
Okay.
I think it'll sharpen your senses.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Better get plenty of sleep.
But anyway,
My toes.
hit us up on Twitter sometime at Super Mega Crash. Send us an email at supermegacrash@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram to view our weekly icon art. Support the show by pressing a like button, leaving reviews on your preferred platform, and even going to patreon.com/Pencil and Paper Productions. And you can tell your friends to find us on the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network found on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, and even youtube.com/Pencil Paper Productions. Thank you so much for listening. I am Stephen White.
I'm Lacia Finley.
Join us again next week, Super Mega Crash Siblings, for the 100th episode. Ooh. But until then, game on.
This has been a Pencil and Paper Podcast Network production.